Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This invocation ends by saying, I adore you. Adoration, salutation. The person who gives adoration should feel small, and what is adored is great. When there is a sense of identity, oneness, there is no one to adore and no one to be adored. To adore what is that particular state of emotion which accompanies it? One's love, admiration, sense of wonder. It's so wonderful that you feel like praising it. There is great love, so you want to become one with it. There's an upsurge of an emotion, so you cannot restrain your words. You feel like expressing your love. Something is surging up within you, and it is a pouring out, an expression that is deep within you, finally gets a chance to come out, to flow out. And that is given here in the form of a hymn, an invocation, a praise. This is more a praise than an invocation, because nothing is asked. You only say that the Guru is great. Guru is as great as the Creator, as the Sustainer, as the Dissolver. Then you say, He even transcends all this. A process is first described, and then this person who gives the adoration goes beyond the idea of a process. It's a Param Brahma. And such an adoration is called bhakti. Bhakti is defined as supreme love. The need to say supreme love is because there are other forms of love. There is a worldly love. There are two people love each other. Why it is called worldly love? Because it is common in the world. for a person to love another person. And it has also an ambivalence, a state of love from which the mind can swing to the opposite side where you experience hate. So love, hate, back to love, hate. In a state of higher love or absolute love, there is no such ambivalence. It is a soaring high, going infinitely on and on. So we have to make a distinction between these two kinds of love. Plato speaks of it as the worldly eros and the heavenly eros. That eros that goes on inspiring you, perfecting you, perfecting your love. Then you have this other love which brings you down. And so when you speak of bhakti here, is it a departure from everything that you can love here for another kind of love? It seems so. We find a kind of a depreciation of worldly love and a great appreciation of other worldly love. But when we come to this chapter, this was preceded by another chapter which was showing an intimate relationship between Arjuna, a human being, and the Supreme, the Absolute. And there were certain epithets used by Arjuna to describe how he was relating himself to that Absolute. And he referred to the Absolute as Father, Mother, Friend, Supporter, Protector. So if all these relationships are possible with the Absolute, and they are all to be known as bhakti, we get an idea of how that relationship is to be established. If you think of the divine as your father, as in Christianity, then you are seeking protection from him. The protective care of the father, the filial gratitude that feels towards father. But if you say mother, then that is not the same. A child finds all security in the lap of the mother, the nourishing mother, the caring mother, the loving mother. It's not easy to define the love of a mother. And if a person is feeling the divine to be the mother, then what is the exact nature of that relationship? Jung says to understand this, we have to think of something other than the conscious relationship that you are having in this world, which you have acquired through a process of learning. He says, if we were only just consciousness and rationality, everybody could be educated. And all could be educated to behave in a certain way, to stick to a certain norm. There cannot be any resistance, because the reason is structured. And then a relationship which things can also be taught that way. But that is not how it is. There is a magical element in our relationship. The mother is a magic. The father in a higher sense is a magic. Lover is a magic. Because with the beloved, with the lover, you feel many strange experiences which you do not feel with others. The very touch of the lover, remembrance of the lover, voice of the lover, sight of the lover, there is this magical touch. And this magical touch is at its highest when it comes to mother. And who is this mother? Western psychology, Freudian and Jungian psychology, are mainly based on Greek mythology. But Greeks are not the only people who had mythology. The Egyptians had, the Indians had, the Sumerians had, the Chinese had. But one Jung found universal is the archetypal concept of the mother. And if you take Brahma as an archetypal creator, he created with his mind. There was no separate womb in which he nurtured the sperm of his creation, but only in the mind. So Brahma's mind, the creative mind, is the mother, the supreme mother of all. And we belong to that creative mind, the mind that creates everything in this world. And our personal mother is only a representative here through whom we experience many of that magic. So this higher understanding of bhakti or devotion, we get an idea of it when we relate ourselves to the archetypal mother who belongs to a collective unconscious. This is a Jungian view. We see that Arjuna was referring not only to mother but also to father, also to friend, the beloved, a supporter, a creator. In all these, there is this element of wonder and element of magic. There is no religion without magic. Curiously, another archetype put forward by Jung was the magician. And still another was the trickster. Father, mother, trickster, and magician. You see, in mother there is already magic. The magician and the trickster both are magicians. What is trick? Trick is something is hidden from you, the cause is hidden from you, and the effect alone is shown. There is an obscuration there. That obscuration is a darkness. We call it tamas. Maya is also called a mother. In the magic of mother, Maya, tamas has the power of deluding us. And the delusion, an example of delusion that is given by tamas is Shakti and Rajata. Shakti is the mother of pearl and Rajata is silver. You see silver where there is no silver. That means a projected value can be seen where the trickster is creating an obscuration of part of the whole truth. Now, that is the phenomenon. So we have a noumena, or we may call it the original. And you have a phenomena which is called the image. Original on one side, image facing the original. And we are facing the image rather than the original. And we are deluded by the image. So we forget ourselves and also we forget the original. There is a sense of wonder when you look at the image also. Is it possible for us to turn 180 degrees and see the original, which is the source of all wonder, the source of all magic? And this is something which defies words. We cannot give a graphic description of the entire process or what one experiences. So this is to be done with more with the language of the heart, the pure feelings of one's heart, than through rationality. Because we are already pre-warned that the more and more you rely on your rationality, you cut off yourself from the ground. Your ground, which is a collective unconscious, according to Jungian psychology, or your ground, which is Turiya, according to Indian spirituality. That becomes more and more distorted as you go from the causal to the dream world and from the dream world to the objective world of tangibility, where you have a quantifiable truth which can be enumerated, measured, and understood in terms of cause and effect relationship. In the world of rationality, our question is how this is related to that. What are the predicables of this? And what is the relationship between one thing and another thing? Thus, then we can classify, categorize. But as you go from the wakeful to the dream, you cannot classify, or it becomes more amorphous. And from that to the unconscious, you are cut off from what you may call otherwise reality, facts of life. And if you go deeper than that, then you are already in a transcendental state. And so there nothing can be defined. So this 12th chapter is discussing such a very important question of man's relationship with the absolute ground of his being. एवं सददयुक्ताये भक्तास्तं पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः. Arjuna said, those devotees who worship you ever unitively, and those again who meditate on the imperishable and the unmanifested, of them which excels in yoga knowledge. Here two kinds of people are mentioned. Those devotees who worship you ever unitively, Satata Yukta, and those again who meditate on the imperishable and the unmanifested, of them which excels in yoga knowledge. Although there is a reference here to two set of people, when you examine them, say the both the kind of yoga, one is Sadada Yuktam Ye Bhaktaha Tam Paryupasade, and the other is Avyaktam Aksharam Tam Upasade Tesham Yoga Vittamaha. One is Avyaktam and Aksharam. The other is a reference to you. So with that you may take as people who are uniting their mind with the Lord as a personal Lord, God, and those who are uniting their mind with the Supreme as an indiscernible truth which is imperishable, which we can more technically say those who meditate on you rather than those who worship you. First is Upasana. Here of course both are given as Upasana. There is a difference between Upasana and Dhyana. In Upasana you are facing God and give worship. In Dhyana you see the perfection of the Supreme through the excellence that is being revealed to you through the clarity of your own consciousness, the certitude of your own realization, and thus from inside, like the day opening up from the heart of the night, from the darkness, from the darkness of your own ignorance, your own cloud of ignorance, there is the brightening up. And the mind which is conscious of the transformation that is happening to it, thus becomes more and more assured of the presence, and clarity comes along with the intensification of that experience from within. Then you may say, now meditation is happening, dhyana is happening. When you sit there and think of an idea right there and try to make that more and more vivid, you cannot say it is meditation. And if you are doing that with a sense of adoration, then you may call it upasana. Anyway, these two aspects are mentioned. But here, the first word, evam, that has a reference to the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, we have already seen Krishna, Arjuna being terrified by the Vishwarupa, and at the end of the Vishwarupa, he describes the Lord as the Supreme Father, the Mother, Piteva Putrasya Sakheva Sakhyu, as Pita and Putra and Sakhe and Sakha, all these. And that kind of an understanding. So this evam here is to be understood as described as an experience of Arjuna in the 11th chapter. And now he wants to know which of the two model is the excellent one. And the Lord says, Maya Vechya Mano Emam Nityayuktaha Upasade Shraddhaya Pareho Vedaste Me Yuktadama Madaha. Krishna said, those with mind centered into me, who unitively meditate on me, with a fervor pertaining to the Supreme, those according to me are the most unitively attuned in yoga. So this picture is shown here to show that there are many varieties of religions, but all belonging to a central value, like the petals of a lotus. In religions like the Vedic religion, there was a gradual development of the idea of theism. The first gods were conceived as the common urges and common need of man, not man as such, but the psyche to which the human mind, human personality belongs. There is a school which argues that the primitive man was afraid of nature, and therefore many natural powers are deified into God because he was afraid of fire, he was afraid of rain, he was afraid of thunderstorm, etc. And thus these are all aspects of nature which are deified. And there is another view which says it is not so. These are not the mere anthropomorphization of nature. Man intuitively discovers himself, and one of the discoveries is the one-to-one correspondence between his whole being, or the microcosm in him, and its similarity with the macrocosm. And when you say microcosm, it is not just an epitomization of the physical world. The fact that human mind can understand the scheme of this world through an intuition, sometimes instinctively, that shows there is a stuff which is other than what is purely physical, which enables the physical to function in a certain way. And that is a volitional aspect within the physical. Even when you say molecules arrange themselves in a certain way in an element, the arrangement of, say, if you take sodium chloride, a crystal of sodium chloride, how the molecules are arranged themselves in it, then there is a law for the arrangement of it. It's not just sitting there by itself, it is always repetitive according to the same law. And that law started functioning even before man discovered it. Thus, within the material, the matter itself, there is a volitional function which makes the particles move in a certain way. And from the first ordering of things to the final stages of what you now call evolution, where there is a fully organized brain of a human being, that is what we call a movement from the arche to the telio. Between the arche and the telio, how things move and change, my human mind, which came probably as an end product of it, is conversant with its own roots. And this aspect, which gives us a penetrative insight into the archetype, and also where we become a kind of a halfway house in furthering that to a higher realization, what you may call the, the axiology or the value realization, the actualization which has yet to come, not as a complete product, but as a continuing process of going from one finite stage to the next finite stage, thus infinitely, nor quite reaching it, nor coming to a stage where you can say now it is perfect. Fully when you think in stage of that infinity which can never be reached, but will always be attempted, and we move towards that direction, we have an idea of the absolute. Thus, from where we stand, we have to view progressively and also regressively, retrospectively and prospectively, to have some idea of our relative mind and its relation with an absolute scheme. And it is there I said that we are facing always the image, and the original and the image are like two halves, and the original is called the arche, and where it can be finally reached is the telos. And this process is going on. And in that, some people have recognized a perfected being among human beings itself as a representative of the Absolute, such as in Jesus Christ by Christians. And in the Bhagavad Gita, from beginning to end, we can see Krishna always referring to himself as the Absolute, as me or I, and Arjuna giving this reverence that is due to the Absolute, to Krishna. And it was again in Krishna he saw the Vishwarupa. That there is a tacit agreement in the Bhagavad Gita that such kind of personalized view of the Absolute is possible or agreed upon. But at the same time in the Gita we read that what is phenomenally presented is only by just a fragment. And Krishna speaks of those people as fools who think of himself as having a human form. So there is a glaring contradiction there. When a person looking upon God with a human form as a fool, then Gita does not agree to that. But then Gita agrees. In this chapter, in the next verse itself, we are coming to such kind of a statement by Gita. So we find very different kinds of concepts of religion. In a religion like Islam, where it says La ilaha illallah, what is Allah? That which is not. If all these are considered as He is, and that is to be negated, just as in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad you say, Neti, Neti. When you go on denying where you arrive at. And where you arrive at is what is Vyaktam, what is discernible here with your senses that disappear. And the Adrishtam, the invisible, becomes real. That is the Islamic concept, and also it is the Nirguna concept of Advaita Vedanta. But people like Ramanuja and also Christians, they think we human beings are endowed with faculties which are of a finite order, and we are filled with a sense of wonder when we see beauty. We are filled with a gratitude where we receive love. We feel protected when there is the protective care of a father or a mother is shown to us. And when we consider hundreds of such personal relationship with something superior or absolute, we see each one of these as a divine quality. And this divine quality is what Ramanuja calls Kalyana Guna. So the Lord is having samasta Kalyana Guna. So all auspicious qualities when taken as present, and then we are facing it, then alone we human beings feel enthralled, inspired, elevated, and every quality in the Lord, such as, say, for instance, compassion, karuna, that instills in us the same quality. So we also want to show compassion. And the beauty of the Lord inspires us to make our life beautiful, our world beautiful, our environment beautiful. And this is something which is ennobling human life, magnifying human life, rather than thinking of an abstraction. With an abstraction, you abstract yourself from this world, then neither you exist in this world nor this world exists for you. You come to a kind of a shunyata and negativity. Such a negativity is not worthwhile, according to Ramanuja and others. Christians share the same view. They say this world is there. In this world there is hunger and thirst. To feed the hungry, to quench the thirst of the thirsty, to care those who are now unwanted. That ennobles our life. Because the Lord to whom you turn for mercy is merciful. So let us also be merciful. The Lord to whom you turn for protection, He protects you, so let us also protect Him. Thus, the sadhana that you can do is through service. So the Christians open schools, colleges, hospitals, so many institutions of service. And let us do service. And that is what we expect from the Lord also. But how about in Islam then? In Islam there is the same principle as in Shankara's Nirguna Brahma, when you say La ilaha illallah. But they say at the same time, but the Supreme has many attributes. Only that we cannot say who He is, but His attributes are experienceable. Here it is different from Vedanta. Bismillah, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. Bismillah. Bismillah. Allah is Ar-Rahman and Rahim, the most beneficent, compassionate. So the qualities are there. It was this need which made Ramanuja turn away from Advaita. He said, I want my Perumal. I want the Lord. Without giving adoration to the Lord, I cannot live. So that became a religion of bhakti, a religion of devotion, and a religion of service. So we find all the varieties of religion people are adhering to. Maya vesha mano emam nityayukta upasade shraddhaya parayo vedaste me yuktadama madaha. Krishna said, those with mind centered into me, who unitively meditate on me with a fervor pertaining to the Supreme, those according to me are the most unitively attuned in yoga. Ye tvam akshara nirdesham avyaktam parupasade sarvatra gamachintyam cha kudasthamajalam dhruvam samniyamendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabodhahide radaha. We have here a picture of a person sitting in a lonely place and meditating. We have also the picture of another person who is deeply engrossed in his search for certain physical reality. Both of them are disciplined. There is a discipline in the scientist. There is a discipline in the yogi. And they are one-pointed in their search. And they are also fired by a single passion, the passion for truth. And they have from within them this great surge to pursue what they seek, and what they are looking at is sufficiently interesting to keep them charmed, riveted to their interest. Everything other than this appears of no consequence to them. And when we take these two examples, they represent many other items of pursuit. Yesterday we have shown the picture of a surgeon who is concentrating on his work. At that time he cannot think of anything. He becomes like an Arjuna. If Arjuna saw only the eye of a bird to shoot at, nothing else, the surgeon also does not see at that time the head or legs or hands of the patient. He only sees where he is putting the scalpel. When a mother is putting a child to sleep, the mother is not really seeing the externality of the child. The mother is capable of tuning herself to the innermost happenings in the child. the intensity of or the increase of the sleep she can feel. When a teacher is teaching and conveying a subject to the student, to what extent the student is responsive and is gaining the subject, studying it, the teacher knows very well. And the rapport between the teacher and the student and the transference of knowledge from one mind to another mind, which is taking place like an osmosis, uh, the entire process and transference is mutually felt and mutually admired. So the Maya Avesya entering my mind with a certain passion, like being possessed, that is most important here. God is not singled out and kept anywhere as a single piece, but in the entire universe, in all forms and all names, all items of life, we should be able to feel the presence and thus percolate into that, seep into that Supreme Being. And that presence that you feel, which is like being drawn into you, as if you are going into a vacuum sucker. And then you come to a state what Sri Ramakrishna says, like that of a fisherman who puts his bait into the water, holding the line. He is sitting there, and his whole mind is where the bait is, even though he cannot see it, which is underwater. And he can feel when a fish comes and touches it, he can feel it. And as soon as it bites it, he pulls. And the firmness with which he pulls and he catches a fish, that shows his one-pointedness there. So this is happening in our mind when we are attuned to what we call nididhyasana. We hear first the word, we ponder over it, and then we try to do it. We experience it. There are ever so many avenues through which this avesya can be experienced. But then where do we go wrong? Going wrong is when the scientist who is seeing things vividly through his microscope or telescope, where he is capable of calculate and put together fuse and see the result. Slowly his mind becomes moved to a repetitive practice, and he becomes a technician, and he is impressed by technocracy than the wonder of what is revealed through his search as a scientist. And when such a tragedy comes, he considers himself to be the creator of the new civilization and the new world. Thus he cuts himself off from the mainstream of the total happening. What he could have otherwise called God or the Supreme or the Divine Being with whom he is getting into attunement from moment to moment, and where all this mystery is being opened to his greatest wonder, and which should give him the highest thrill, he loses that thrill when he thinks, by casually arranging and producing an experiment like this, I get that result. So that he is no more on par with a yogi. The yogi also gets into a similar kind of a trap, that when he quietens his mind and his petty needs are not coming in the way on which he is stumbling, he develops more transparency with time and space, and thus he can see through small systems. Then he also loses his heart with an ego, spiritual ego, that now he has come, something has come into his possession as a psychic power. Then he also feels like a new creator who can produce situations, at least in social circles, and thus dominate on the minds of a few people. Thus, he also loses. But it does not matter if you are in the field of science or if you are in the field of religion. If you are conversant with the higher truth to which you belong, and you go on moving onward and onward, furthering the perfection for which the will is being expressed from the source, and where you are like a bird which is forming in the tree of life, and slowly you are growing and growing into size, into maturation, and then you are unfolding. And even when it comes to a stage where you have to drop off your petals and no more beautiful for the outside sight, then the fruit comes. So there is a discarding of what is most beautiful in you, even after attaining that kind of a maturation or maturity. क्लेशो अधिगतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्विवराप्यते. The difficulty of those whose relational minds are set for the unmanifested is greater, for the way of the unmanifested is very hard for the embodied to reach. It is a very pure way of perceiving the highest truth. It is not here discarded. The Lord only said it is difficult. But it is acclaimed here as greater than seeing through a finite setup. Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyena yogena mam dhyayanda upasade teshamaham samuddharta Mrityu samsara sakarat Havami nachirat partha Mahya veshida chedasam. But those who worship me, renouncing all actions in me, regarding me supreme, meditating on me by the yoga exclusive of all else, for them whose minds have entered into me, I become Erlong, O Partha Arjuna, the savior out of the ocean of death and repeated cyclic existences. If this world is a manifestation of the divine, and with that thought if we look at these words, what does it mean by saying those who worship me, renouncing all actions in me, regarding me supreme, meditating on me by that yoga exclusive of all else? Actually, there is nothing to exclude. If all this is that one reality, that one truth, you and I are part of the same program. I have come to a certain station of life to do a certain thing, and you another. And what is before you is as sacred as what is before me. For me it is to rear your child. For me it is for the exposition of a certain truth. And for another it is to uh, care for the ailing, the sick. To someone else it is to produce food, and someone else to distribute. Thus we are all part of a grand scheme. And that grand scheme itself is the expression of the divine. And by knowing that, we find our place in the meaning of our life. Fulfilling the meaning of our life itself is the worship. And if we do not obstruct it with our own thoughts, with our own personal pettiness, then the worship is going on. There is no need for a separate worship other than that. If with all sincerity, if you are with full devotion, you have given yourself to what is happening, then it is as if you have given the very flower of your mind as an offering to the Supreme. Mayeva mana adhasya Mayi buddhi niveshaya Nivasishya simayeva Adaurtham na samsaya. Place your mind in me only. Let your higher reason enter into me. You shall without doubt thereafter live in me. If you watch this world, to see the mind of whoever who is fashioning this, then it is functioning in every atom in a very definitive way. And there is no excuse and there is no proxy. Something is inevitable. And at the same time there is a free progress. Something is freely progressing, but that progress is also determined. There is within it a paradox of being determined and not determined. The possibility has no end, and endless possibilities are opening up. But each probability is actualizing according to definite laws. And if this is the scheme, this is the mind of the divine, how do we place our own mind into the mind of the divine? By allowing ourselves also to open up to the possibility, but going from step to step, as exact from where we stand to the next. As circumstances favor us, energies flow into us. Seeing that energy itself is the grace, and the visualization of what is possible there at the goal. That's how we place, and not by denying all that is presented here and seek a God elsewhere. So this verse, place your mind in me only. Let your higher reason enter into me. The buddhi of ours, when it becomes conjoined with the lower mind, then it becomes contaminated, becomes polluted. But the same buddhi, when it is dedicated for the higher purpose of life, it becomes the most purifying and guiding principle of life. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय. If you are unable to fix your thoughts steadily on me, then by means of unity you ascend yoga or practice. Seek to reach me, O Dhananjaya, Arjuna. Abhyasa is doing a thing again and again till you become fully versatile in it, an expert in it. And when you become an expert in it, when you do not know what effort you are putting into it, and it becomes so automatic, so natural, so spontaneous, then it has become like your habitual behavior. You are cultivating it, but it is becoming habitual. In this, in all religions we can see, and even in the higher pursuits of science you can see, what you consider as nature is really not your nature, true nature. Children are fond of sweets. When you are grown up, you are also fond of sweets. But our body revolts, rebels. Similarly, a palatable food, enjoyable, we want to eat, become gluttonous, but then our body revolts. In religion, you are asked to restrain. So going the nature which is known only as tendencies and urges are like an enemy, and you have to fight against it. You have to tame yourself. A new samskara is to be established. So that is turning away from hedonism to the appreciation of a higher value. So thus there comes yama in life, a restraint in life. And the abhyasa which is spoken of here is that restraint by which you do not become enslaved by mere urges. That are all preconditionings. So what is not nature, then what is it? Preconditioning. And I was reading in Jung today how in the early years of our life, say from the during our childhood, adolescence and early youth, we are so totally spoiled by parents, teachers and the society by structuring our mind so much where it becomes fully conditioned and we lose all our touch with the original. And it is for allowing the original to possess us that we need abhyasa. So this abhyasa which is spoken of here is like unlearning what we have learned here and relearning to be of our original nature, of our true nature, what we call the Sarupa Siddhi, one's own Sarupa. But we are now trying to conform to a postulated Sarupa which is planned by others. So in the book called The Psychology of the Development of Personality and Education, Jung speaks of the great tragedy of education conceived for a society which is systematized and which is given according to rules, where all individuals have to conform to that system and be educated according to rules, where the person in you is mutilated and you are alienated from your true being. That's what is happening everywhere. And as a correction of that, you have to think of that mind to which this entire universe and all these functions belong, and to recapture that original mind. For that you discipline yourself through a process of abhyasa. Abhyaseऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि. If you happen to be incapable even for practice, then become one whose every action belongs to me, the Supreme. Even doing work for my sake, you shall attain to perfection. To go from the cultivated or structured nature of one's mind to the original mind, there is a lot of job, there is a real difficulty. If you say it is now too late for me to do such a thing, to see through all these impressions, the pure state of the chit, and to know that your primary existence and primary consciousness and primary value, and these are all specific modulations which have become notes in your mind, to untie those notes and go back to the pure state of existence, the pure state of awareness, the pure state of value. If that is difficult, still it is okay. Then you are now engaged in some action. Divinize that action. instead of thinking of that action as uh, only of a personal significance, see how you can beautify it. See how it can be beneficial to the whole world, where you do not take a possession of its agency. It's not your ego which is promoting it, but a divine mission which is promoting it. And then it becomes, it opens up your life to everything around. And it's like the karma itself becomes an instrument, makes you an instrument of the divine. And if you are an instrument to do an action which is of divine significance, it cannot be one which hurts anyone. It cannot be one which is beneficial to one and not beneficial to another. So a new ethics comes into it. The purport of that ethics is universally good, universally beautiful. So there is an ennobling of the action that way. अथैदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुम् मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यदात्मवान्. If you are unable to do even this, then seek refuge for your individuality in my unity being, renouncing the benefits of all actions as one of controlled self. If that is also not possible, then at least when the result accrues, do not try to hold it, do not try to grasp it. Let go. Let anyone be the beneficiary of that. Adveshta sarvabhudanam maitra karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sugakshami sandushtaha sadadam yogi yadatma dridhanichchayaha मयि अर्पितमनो बुद्धि यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. Here, the qualities of a yogi are also recommended for a bhakta. The yogi and the bhakta, the jnani and the karma yogi, are not seen as different models. We also see in the second chapter in Sthita Prajna the same kind of a model. So whatever were attributed in the second chapter for the Sthita Prajna, one who is established in wisdom, the same is repeated here as that of a model bhakta. Adveshta sarvabhudanam. There is no dvesha in your mind to any being. Instead of that, maitraha karuna eva cha. There is a fellowship, a maitri. It's a natural ecology, a symbiosis, that you can live with the other in a state of companionship, friendship. And if somebody is lacking in a capacity to cooperate, to work, to go along, then do not push. Show compassion. that will give encouragement to the other. And if that person is hurt, you can help to heal. Compassion has that healing touch. So it is said, Maitraha Karunayavacha Nurmamo Nirahankaraha. But for that, one should not always prefer oneself to another and say, you cannot do it, I shall do it. You move away, let me do it. Don't be in such hurry, in such haste. Give a chance. Wait, have patience. Samadukha Sugachami. To do that, you should have this great patience to create your pain and pleasure. Sandushtaha sadadao yogi yadatma dridhanichayaha. The yogi is always happy. Tushti, that is prasannata, cheerfulness is always there. There's always the sameness. That's the sameness in it, being bright and cheerful. Yadatma dridhanichaya. There is that steadfastness, a determined will, not a budge from one's commitment, one's undertaking. Mai arpita mano buddhir yo mat bhaktaha same priyaha. There is an arpana buddhi, a surrender, an offering, a continuous offering. And that makes you a dear bhakta. Yasmanno dijade logo lokanno dijade jayaha harsha marsha bhayo dvegair mukto yasajame priyaha. And that's again more beautiful. He who does not disturb the peace of the world, and whose peace is not disturbed by the world, and who is free from exaggerations of joy, haste and fear, he too is dear to me. See, when a butterfly is, before becoming a butterfly, it comes as a larva, a caterpillar. And it comes with a terrible hunger. And it has such scissors-like teeth with which it goes and nibble and eat all the greenery. In a little time it can devastate a whole forest. And such are they. But then they go into tapas. After the pupa stage, they come out. And then from their mouth, this terrible cutting machine is taken off. Instead, they are given two beautiful wings. Colorful, beautiful. They flutter around. And now they do not go and eat any leaves. They go and gently sit on the petals of flowers and they sip a little honey and they move from one flower to another flower in a very gentle way. Similarly, say a yogi who is living by what you call Karadala Bhiksha, from one home, he gets a little contentedly, he goes away to another. Even if you don't do that, the contrast between the caterpillar and the butterfly is so much that we see the same when we are of worldly interest and when we have evolved. When we have evolved, we please the world and we are also pleased with the world. That is perfect harmony in the relationship. He who does not disturb the peace of the world, and whose peace is not disturbed by the world, and who is free from exaggerations of joy, haste, and fear, he too is dear to me. That is very beautiful, to say that you have no exaggeration of joy, haste, and fear. Even if you moderate our mind and take away the exaggerations, half the trouble of this world is over. You turn on the TV and listen to the voices which they speak. The exaggeration they put into it creates a similar nervousness in us also. We also feel the same haste. अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गदवधः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तसमप्रिया. He who expects no favors, who is clean, expert, who sits unconcerned, carefree, who has relinquished all undertakings, he, my devotee, is dear to me. That does not mean that we should not do anything. When you say sarva arambha parityagi, you do not initiate a new karma, but you already come in a long line of action. Something has already begun, and you are there. And it is your turn for you to be true to the situation. You are not beginning anything. So there is no relinquishment of what is natural and what is to be dutifully done. But you do not open a new set of karma to put more people entangled with it. Yo na hrishyadi na dveshti, na shojadi na kamshadi, shubha shubhavarityagi, bhaktiman yasame priyaha. He who neither rejoices nor hates, nor grieves nor desires, and who has relinquished both the beneficial and the harmful, such a one endowed with devotion is dear to me. Here the model is someone like Ramana Maharshi, or someone who is a Virakta Purusha. They do not care either for the beneficial or the harmful, they just sit there. They become a sakshi of everything that is passing by. Samasyatrau jamitreja tadha manapamanayoho sidushna sukha dukkeshu samasanga vivarjidaha tulya nindastu dhirmauni sandushto yena kenajit anigedastiramadhir bhaktiman me priyo naraha. I found these words very, very helpful on so many occasions. He who is the same to foe and friend, and also in honor and dishonor, who is the same in cold and heat, in pleasure and pain, and who is free from attachment, to whom censure and praise are equal, who is silent in manner, content with whatever happens to come, having no fixed abode, mentally constant. Such a man of devotion is dear to me. There were so many occasions in life when the persons whom you love most suddenly turn against you. And even when you are absolutely innocent, accusations are made against you, allegations are made, and it hurts. It's not our fault. But on such occasions, all that I did was just to repeat these two verses in my mind, to sit quietly somewhere and say, Samashatrau jamitreja tadha mahanavamaneyo Shīdoshna sukha dukkeshu samasanga vivarjidaha. There are many people to praise us. There are even more people to reproach us, to blame us. But we say, Tulya nindasti dharmahuni. That is difficult, but by repeating this on many occasions I found that it is easy to get back your composure, your tranquility, your middle ground. Tulyanindastu dharmavani sandushto yena kena je anuje vastiramade bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Yedu dharmya amradamidam yadhoktam paryupasade shraddadhana matparama bhaktaste adiva me priyaha. But they who cherish devotedly this righteous immortal value, as stated, endowed with faith with me for supreme, these devotees are exceedingly dear to me. With that, we close the 12th chapter. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva